Okay, so good afternoon, Amy Lassen.
Hello, Charlie Bengal. So
So,
glad to be here.
yeah, good to see you as always on today's edition of the Daily Dose. I'm Charlie Bengal Jr., the Remax Allegiance CEO, and my co-host today is Amy Lassen, an associate broker with Remax Properties in Colorado Springs. Welcome again. I think I want to start by saying that it's important for everybody to know, at least in the DC metro area and in Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads, that real estate is continuing.
Mhm.
Over 1,300 properties have gone under contract within 35 miles of the White House in the last 4 days. So in no way am I advocating that we bring clients to listings kicking and screaming, right? Am I in no way advocating that we list folks' properties for sale that aren't ready, that are uncomfortable with the situation? But the reality is things are happening, and if people are comfortable, now's a good time, right?
Mhm.
And I was talking to a group yesterday on group coaching about whether to list this particular property in the Alexandria section of Fairfax. I
Mhm.
think it's going to be in like the 675 range. And she had been debating with her sellers whether now is an appropriate time. It's vacant. Sellers have already moved. And the consensus of the group was, we know the market today.
Mhm.
Right now, we know what's happening, right?
Right.
We know that there's still competitive offers. Good listings are still selling. We have no idea what the market is going to be in 2 weeks or 4 weeks. We have no idea if the DC metro area or Virginia Beach are going to be New York City.
Right.
We all hope not, but we don't know. So I think keeping in mind what we do know and then informing our client and then letting them make the call whether now's a good time to proceed or hold is the way to go. That is our job. We've said for at least a year, what is our job? Our job is to solve people's problems. The more problems they have, or the bigger problem it is, the more money we get paid. And now more than ever, my gosh, I remember saying that in a mastermind in January to this, to a group of agents, and now more than ever does that apply.
Yeah.
So we're not here to harangue people and make people uncomfortable. We're just here to be a sound and sane professional opinion, and then let them weigh the pros and cons and let them make the best decision for themselves.
Yes.
That's my thinking. So we are now using StreamYard instead of Zoom.
Yes.
And first of all, it's just so much easier for me, right? I have to admit that. Second of all, what is really cool is we can see the comments. I can see the comments live on Facebook without having to switch a bunch of windows around and stuff. Now, those of you that are commenting, if you've not given StreamYard permission to access your information, I don't know who you are. It just says Facebook user, but that is a lot better than nothing. So if you all have a question as we go, feel free to shoot. If you need clarification, shoot. We've been doing, the coaches show for what, over a year now, I want to say. We've been doing the daily doses for, it feels like 2 months, but it's been like 2 weeks. And it was really hard to be able to manage comments and be able to answer the questions in real time. That whole challenge has been eliminated with this new system. So if people have questions, do not be shy. We'd love to answer them in real time. And if we're in the middle of a thought, we will get to your question. So with that, today's topic is using marketing channels for good.
Yes.
Before we get into that, Amy, do you have anything else to add about, our new world and your perspective of what's going on?
Well, I think you said exactly what needed to be said, and it just brings us right into today's topic, because using your marketing channels for good is not separate from everything that you just said, Charlie. You said our job is to inform people and help them make wise decisions. That's always the job. And sidebar comment, it cracks me up how different coaches and trainers define our job, right? Your job is lead generation. Your job is service. Your job is selling houses. Your job is selling yourself. I've heard it all, right?
Right.
But I think you put it most succinctly. I think our job is to know more about real estate than everyone else who knows us or anyone else we can reach with our marketing, and provide them with all the creative solutions to their goals or problems,
Mhm.
and empower them to make good choices. It's not our money. It's not our purchase, right? So I
Right.
think you said it very, very well, which dovetails nicely into, okay, then what do we talk about? How do we market to people in the age of COVID-19, right? And so I want to make the argument that it's both what you said about informing them of their real estate options,
Mhm.
keeping them abreast of what's actually going on, but you can also repurpose all of your marketing channels. And
Right.
those of you who caught the Daily Dose last week, we did talk about this a little bit in detail, but I really want Charlie and I to discuss it. And that is, there are really famous companies that retool their communication channels for good in times of crisis. Maybe there was a natural disaster in a certain
Right.
market, and suddenly some famous shoe company or beverage company is using their channels simply to communicate good information. And they're not talking about their product.
Right. Right.
So it can be both. And I think that's what this needs to be about. What can we talk about that is real estate specific? And what else can we be saying?
Yeah, I love it. And honestly, what came to mind immediately when you were talking about that, and here I go off on a tangent, but so many of us know business owners,
Mhm.
right? And I believe it's what's called the Paycheck Protection
Mhm.
Act, or part of the big stimulus package.
Yes.
That information is out.
Yes.
Go to treasury.gov. Yes, it's being governed by the SBA and whatnot. You're still going to go through your local lending institution, but this is not the SBA disaster recovery loans. This is separate from that. And those of you who are watching, go to treasury.gov, grab the link, and send that out to your people, right? If you know people that own restaurants or any business for that matter, these loans basically become grants if you hang on to your people, if you do not reduce their salaries by a certain amount.
Mhm.
So this is in essence free money from the government. But we understand that there's 250 billion that's up for grabs, and we think that the need is in excess of $1 trillion. So
Mhm.
you want to get applications in early. And those of you who are independent contractors that are watching, you are also eligible for something similar, but the deadline or your eligibility for that, my understanding is about a week later
On the 10th.
than companies.
Mhm.
So if you're not familiar, go to treasury.gov. You'll see it, I think, in red across the top. It has links to 4 different documents. It's in plain English, right? But your business owners need to get ahead of this. They're going to have questions for their accountants. They need to provide payroll information.
Mhm.
And I don't know how it's actually going to work when who gets the money first, right? I don't know how that whole thing works. I do understand that the Treasury Secretary, I believe, said that he wanted even more money for this particular program if it were to run out. And you would think that it will probably run out due to the number of layoffs and whatnot. And what's the beauty of this thing is it's going to allow businesses to rehire their workers and pay them
Mhm.
in the short term. And if they do that, then these loans are forgiven. If they don't do that, then they've got to repay the loan. So that is a piece of information that is quite new to this week. The bill was passed a week ago, but then it took some time for the different agencies and departments to come up with applications and the collateral and the instructions. That's there. Let's get that out to our people via our newsletters. I always say that it's easier to pick this up, right? The phone is lighter when you have something to say. If you all that are watching know business owners in your community that they can use this information, I wouldn't just email it to them. I would call them and say, hey, how's it going? Have a conversation and say, hey, are you aware of this?
Yeah.
I'm not an accountant, I'm not a lawyer, right? But I want to give this to you because I think that it could be a huge benefit. And we've actually put in the comments on Facebook down below the link to the information. So whoever is running our Facebook comments for us right now, I appreciate you finding that and putting that link in there. So that's just one example, and I know you have many more. So where do you want to take
No,
this?
I have a sidebar comment, and this is an unfair question because you are not an accountant and you have to never ever pretend to be.
Yep.
So can we have the tax lady back on? Sidebar.
Yes.
Here's the very direct question.
Yep.
Do you know, for those independent contractors,
Yep.
it's an LLC, it's an S corp. Like for realtors,
Yep.
you know, most of us listening to this, we're all realtors. Are we the April 3rd or the April 10th? And how would we know?
I believe most people watching are the 10th, but I think everybody should go to the link and read the different definitions and decide for themselves. And if
Yes.
they're uncertain, you got to call your accountant. And again, now is not the time to delay, right? I'm talking like right when we're done today,
Yes.
go to the link, right, and start getting your ducks in a row. Because if you are classified as somebody that is up this week, again, you need certain information for the application and certain attachments that go with it. And if you may need help from your accountant. So I don't want you to think, oh, I'll just wait. And because I don't know that anybody knows exactly how this is going to be allocated.
Right.
We heard from somebody who made it sound like it was like first come, first serve. I don't know how the different institutions are going to do that, right? I mean, are you better off going with Bank of America, or are you cool with a local lender? I don't have any idea.
No.
But you do wonder how quickly this money is going to go. And I don't know how I did not, get into the weeds of how do they figure how much you can, get and all of that. This is a unique opportunity for the little guy, basically, to be able to get help, right? This is not a bailout of General Motors or of American Airlines or a big bank like we've seen in past years, right or wrong. This is a chance for the little guy, and a lot of the usual rules have been relaxed.
Yeah.
To the point where I think there's a lot of concern about fraud, and that there's going to be the fraudsters out there, and so get in, get it done sooner rather than later. If you have questions, I love everybody, I'm sure, that's watching. You all have my cell phone number, but do not text me with your questions about this because I will not know the answer. I would just ask that you please contact your accountant.
Yeah.
So somebody says here, the form says the loan amount is your average monthly payroll times 2.5.
Yeah, correct.
So there you go. Anything else to add there? I mean, you may know more about this than I do. So.
Yeah, well, but just to clarify, those who think they're about to get $500,000 from the government, no, it's 2.5 times your average payroll. So
right.
That is, and if you're a sole proprietor and you normally pay yourself $6,000 a month, well, then there it is.
There you go. Right. Good. So good news there. And I think that they're already working on another stimulus package, right? So I think this is probably not the end of it, but that, again, don't procrastinate. Right. No. Do not procrastinate when it comes to this. And the form seemed fairly easy to me, to be able to fill out. This is not, it's not like you're doing your taxes where you want to rip your hair out. So it's pretty easy. So communicate that, push that out to your clients. If we're able to come up with a synopsis from NAR regarding this for small businesses, or from even like the Chamber of Commerce, if I get some information, I'll certainly send it out to, the troops, if you will. And if anybody else gets a good synopsis of this plan, if you can send it to me so I can send it to everybody, that would be good too. So there's that. But then there's all sorts of other things that we could be saying to our people. Another example that I have, and then I know you have a million examples. Now, I'm always afraid that I'm not going to have enough to say. And then I get on here and I talk more than you do, and you're the one that is better at this than I am. We offered up for our associates, the Zoom rooms that we have access to, for anybody that wants to use them after 5 p.m. during the week or on the weekends. Great. And those of you that have not tried to connect with your friends and family via some sort of, a virtual system, this is a great opportunity. And I think maybe when we were on earlier this week, I used the example of, I read in the Post last week that this family got together, this extended family, so they like Modern Family, right? And they all made pasta with red sauce, and they all sat down and ate it together on Zoom on Sunday night, right? And that may sound corny, but there are people that are lonely. There are people that want to get together. Grandparents that haven't seen the grandkids. My mom is all over me. When are you going to come visit? I'm like, when it's safe to. Well, when's that going to be? That's not up to me, right? So until then, sorry. we can FaceTime, right? So don't underestimate the number of people that would be interested in you doing a social with your friends, or you offering up a Zoom room to your clients so they could do a social with their friends or their family. You don't have to be the ringleader here, right? We're going to give you one of the usual links that we have. You don't have to log into it, right? You're just going to go to the URL, you're going to use it, and then you're going to be done. There's no logging in, passwords, hosting. You just go to it and you're there, right? So that's another reason to reach out and touch your clients, right? Hey, I'm doing this, I'm offering that. So that's what I've got. And I think those two are the biggies for me, that maybe that's been lost a little bit. The social aspect and keeping in touch with people, I think, is important as a group, right? If you normally play bridge with a group of people, get online with them. If you're even normally in a running group with people, get online with them. If you see people twice a week, you can still see them and talk to them online. Is it as good as going up and hugging them and then going for your run and then having a cup of coffee afterwards? No, but it's better than nothing, and it's certainly better than the phone. So on a group chat on the phone, people talk over one another.
Yeah.
With this, you don't have that as much, even with a big group. You and I have hosted big groups. I had over 60 people on a mastermind last week. And when I saw the number of people, I'm like, oh my gosh, it was fine. It was fine, right? Because you have an idea of when you can talk based on the cues you're seeing from other people in the group.
Yeah.
So, and then somebody said, we offer Zoom 101 sessions on Mondays and Fridays. So if you're not familiar with Zoom, we'll teach you how to use it. But it really, if you have a computer with a webcam, you just go to the URL. If you're going to use your phone or use an iPad or other device, you need to download the app. But this is not something that is particularly challenging, right? It really is easy. So check that out. So I know I've dominated the first 20 minutes of this. So
it's amazing stuff. It's really, really good stuff. So I actually want to backtrack to the first thing that you offered up, which was about stats.
Good. Yes.
How many properties were sold in a recent amount of time?
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we can be talking about. So those of you who have been faithful or even considered doing statistical updates or market updates on a regular basis, let's dispense with doing the month over month or year over year. I don't think it's meaningful. To
Agreed. Yes.
February or to compare April to March. No, those
that goes for the next few months.
Yeah.
Because the numbers are going to get ugly.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's not really the relevant number. Okay. Right. Because we have fewer people interested in listing. We have fewer people interested in buying. It's almost like Christmas. But the days on market, at least, in most of our markets, still rather rapid. The list to sell ratio is quite high.
Yep.
So we can talk about those types of things. I talked to somebody in my mastermind group yesterday. He said he wrote 3 offers in the last couple of days. None of them have been accepted because they couldn't go 20,000 over.
Wow. Right. Right.
So, now, I'm not saying push people or tell them that it's important that they buy or sell. As always, it's the right time to buy or sell if it's the right time in their lives.
Yes.
So we always start with, tell me what's going on in your life. Why is it a good time for you to buy or sell? So anyway, I think the statistics are still relevant. Share different statistics.
Right. I think that there are people out there that think that the market is just stopped. Right.
No.
And we forget the reasons. There was a Facebook post this morning that I saw that was like talking about the people that have to move and the different scenarios that are going on in their lives. And we, at least in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, we are considered essential. And that doesn't mean that we should not be taking precautions and using common sense. So again, what's best for the client. Brian Block just said that the paycheck protection form is so easy to fill out. He just completed it in 2 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
As a sole proprietor, single agent, right?
Yes.
And I don't know how he's classified tax-wise, but I know how he operates, right? So no, I think that's a great point. Don't be afraid of the stats. But something that I think we've mentioned before is I think we've got to mention every time we're marketing, I think you've got to mention the issue, right? If your marketing looks like you're on autopilot, it makes you look tone deaf or like you don't care.
Right.
And, so it doesn't need, I'm not saying that your whole TV commercial needs to be about coronavirus like a lot of the TV commercials are now,
Mhm.
right? But you've seen the car commercials, boy, they've really done some interesting things, right? They came out very quickly with, this is what we're doing in this situation. And they explained how they were helping their customers. If you still need a car, this is what we're doing. Take some cues from those. I'm not saying do TV commercials,
Mhm.
right? But first of all, they pivoted really
Mhm.
quick, and then they came up with a plan. What are we doing to support our current customers,
Mhm.
and what are we doing to support those that need a car from us?
Mhm.
You don't need to come to the dealer anymore. You don't have to pay for 3 months, and then we're going to cover months 4, 5, and 6 for you. And you get a 7-year loan. A 7-year loan. Can you believe this? A 7-year loan interest free. They weren't offering this before. Right. Now, do they want to be helpful? Perhaps. Do they need to sell cars to keep their people employed? Yeah. Right. So, so I think that's a good example. And if you don't watch Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy like I do every night, or try to escape, it's very interesting to see. A week and a half ago, I think it was GM was the only company that was doing COVID commercials. They pivoted stunningly fast, and now 9 out of 10 commercials are all COVID, related.
Mhm.
Even some of the local car dealerships and stuff like that, that are big conglomerates, they've pivoted as well. So if they're doing it, what are we doing? What is your plan, to move forward? We have some agents that have protocols written for how they're operating their listings and sales. I know you've sent us some stuff too. So for the group that's watching, we are compiling that,
Mhm.
and I will be sending it out as suggestions, right? So you can show your clients that you have a plan, and it's not just business as usual. So anyway, there I go again. I'm gonna be quiet for a full 2 minutes. I'm gonna watch the clock. So feel free to share your additional thoughts. Yeah.
Well, what I want to encourage everybody is, whether you have been operating with a certain marketing vision for your sphere of influence or not, now is the time. So even if you haven't marketed before, this won't come out of the blue and seem ridiculous, because so did COVID, right? So wrap your arms around who your sphere is. And your sphere is anyone that you would like to help with their real estate needs, right? That's the definition. Anybody that you would be thrilled if they called you and said, hey, I have a referral, or hey, I want to talk to you, then that's your people. So wrap your arms around that and friend them, connect with more of them on social media. I shared in the Daily Dose last week that I have a client that we used to be in contact all the time. She's from another country, and I think she feels that she has a connection with me and not many other people. She texts me, we have lunch. She is not on social media. She doesn't have social media accounts. Well, guess what? Last week she sent me a friend request. So she has decided to join the fray. So don't feel like you're being strange to friend people. A lot of people are taking advantage of the ease of communication through social media. So friend a whole bunch more of your real friends on social media. Make your connections bigger, grow your audience. Then do what you can to update your CRM. Do the best that you can to get their contact information, because you want to be able to call them, you want to be able to text them, and you want to be able to email them, right? So same that we always would do all those things, right? Once you have a little bit of organization, a little bit of a vision, and I wouldn't wait, by the way, I'd be communicating the whole time with the ones that you have as you're growing it. But then when you turn to me or Charlie and say, but wait, what should I say? I don't want to be sleazy. I don't want to be pushy. I always say, please don't. And there's plenty to talk about.
Sure.
So Charlie, you have given excellent examples. You can share interesting news about opportunities in the market, whether it's statistical or, government bailout or something. Share the news that is, and be careful. We talked about this on the Daily Dose. Don't ever share facts about how this is a really big deal or it's not. Those are all opinions. And so when people say, no, it was factual, I got it from such and such source, none of that is factual. The experts don't know. Okay. So do your best to not take sides about whether this is dire or no big deal, because nobody knows. And I think you're on the wrong side of it. If you do that, you're going to upset someone.
Yeah.
So the facts could be, this number of homes closed this week. That's a fact. You're not interpreting it. Don't give an editorial layer and say therefore. No. That's not your job. So the facts truly are facts.
Yeah.
So don't interpret them.
No, I think that's a good point. This issue, whether we like it or not, has been politicized, and we need to be careful to not politicize it further with comments on social media.
Yeah, please
And
don't.
because what happens is you end up losing clients, and you don't even know it because they just don't call you anymore, right? And you don't get the referrals anymore. So I do think that is this pandemic is very different in different parts of the country, and I don't think anybody is saying that it's business as usual, because it's not. But yes, I think that's a good point.
Well, this is friendly advice, because people push back on me all the time, even about fair housing.
Mm-hmm.
Amy, I have these important truths to share. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have any truth. Zip it. I'm not asking you to hide your truth so you don't offend someone. I'm telling you, you don't have the truth. I don't care which side of the aisle you fall on.
Yeah.
You don't know anything, so don't share it. Is that fair? I really hope everybody gets it. Quoting numbers of homes sold is a fact.
Right.
Anything else is your opinion, and please don't share it because nobody knows yet.
Yep.
But the rest of it, the rest of the touches, and I talked to someone today, she said she went through the new 30-day plan, and she was looking at how many times to text and how many times to call. She said, Amy, I just don't want to be annoying, and I'm not going to also email them. And I said, why not? Are you sending them coloring pages? Are you sending them the instructions for how to use Zoom that they didn't know already?
Right.
She's like, oh, I didn't think about that. So what I want to encourage everyone to do is to take advantage of the grid that we created, and we can share the screen if necessary. Yeah. But here's a sample grid of the types of things that you can be sharing with people. And I don't think you need to feel like you're bludgeoning people. If you do a really cool video, use chia seeds instead of eggs, which I should really do, and you post it on social media, not everyone that you have an email address for is necessarily connected to you as a friend. And if they don't all see everything you post. Yep. It's the nature of social media. Repurposing your social media content as a delivered email is not abusing the privilege, right? It's, in case you missed it, here you go. It's my recipe for sweet potato brownies, whatever, right? You can just be silly and be fun. So there's an example here, and it's spread out across a 7-day grid, with one-to-ones being the most important thing you'll ever do. Pick up the phone and talk to every single person. It doesn't matter if it's been 3 years. You don't have to feel pushy, because you're not going to be pushy. Right. You're just going to say, Jan, it's Amy. I can't believe it's been this long, and I couldn't let another day pass. How the heck are things in your world? The phone is light. Call and be nice.
There you go. Yeah.
Here are examples of social touches. Tomorrow we're going to talk. Well, I think, should I say we're going to talk about tomorrow?
Yeah. Go ahead.
We're going to talk about doing online buyer presentations, but that parlays into what is the advertising that you do. So here are some examples of a lot of one-to-one touches and social media touches, whether you're sharing inspirational things, helpful things, useful things, but then advertising is also an option. Advertising the fact that you can help people buy virtually, you can help people sell virtually, that you are doing online consultations, you can do online buyer seminars, whatever it takes. Make sure that your people know, and even the people beyond your own circle. This could be a time that you grow your own reach, you grow your own sphere of influence with the quality of your touch.
Yeah, I like it. And then for a little plug, on Friday, so Amy's up tomorrow with buyer presentations and marketing to buyers. Friday, I'm interviewing Darlene Kemp from Atlantic Bay Mortgage. They're based in Virginia Beach. And Jody Severini, he is from PNC Mortgage based in Northern Virginia. And I had my prep call with them right before our show today. And it's really good stuff. It is really good stuff. So I have, 12 questions for them probably. And then I know that our audience is going to have more questions for them. And we're just going to do it live. And I think that they're going to have some really good nuggets. So 1:30 tomorrow, same place, same time. We're going to continue to do this every weekday until things subside. So I think we're going to be at this for a bit. Anything to wrap up, Amy?
I want to encourage everyone, if this feels overwhelming, just write it down. Write down some of the best takeaways. You can watch this video again. The grid that we flashed is available on theallegianceway.com, or will be shortly. make it true for yourself. And if you feel like you're being annoying, maybe it's because you are being annoying. So change it, right?
Right.
Offer something that's factual, offer something that's helpful. And I would lean more heavily on things that are just useful and fun, because here's something that I've said in previous trainings. If 6% or so of the people that we know or in any given market move in any given year, 94% of the people that you interact with every single day and every single year aren't moving anyway.
Right. Right.
So quit. So when somebody says no, thank you, they're not rejecting you. 100% of the people you talk to are never going to move at once.
Right. Right.
So that was always true. Okay. So if your marketing channels are mostly for cheer, for support, for guidance, for inspiration, for local love, then you're the source of the source, and you're a voice of good things. So I'd
There
say
you
the
go.
majority of what you do doesn't have to be about real estate, and never did.
I like it. And another light touch I heard today, SiriusXM is free on the app for the entire country for now. They just open this up now, not in your car, right? The app. So download the app. Does everybody that you know that? Would they be interested in that? Probably. Is that a good Facebook post?
Yeah.
Probably, right? So there's so many little tidbits. There's so many companies that are doing stuff that is new and different. I think Peloton has got 90 days free with their app. You
Wow.
don't need the bike. You don't need the treadmill. It's free. They've got amazing workouts, right? It's not from the trainer down the street that went to class for 2 weeks and now he's a personal trainer, right? These are like world-class people that work for Peloton, right? We all know that, whether we have the bike or not. So as we learn about these things, I would love for you all to put it on the Allegiance Way group. So then everybody knows about it, right? We're constantly getting stuff that we can share with our sphere. So I think we leave it there. Always good to see you, Amy. We'll see you tomorrow. And if anybody has any additional questions, just put them in the comments and we'll answer them.
Wonderful.
Take care. Thanks.
Bye.